My Energy Ecliptic, love circle persona, self-love, best love, world love, you know is my honor. Greetings, that be your host, JaMes Peter Bastien. And peace, prosperity, power. It's my honor to share my affirmation, visualization, and unison manifestations and all satisfactions. The mind body is to grow in all facets. Presented in procreation, this is MB9T podcast show. May you be at peace in whatever the action is proclaiming, ascending you the greatest of all satisfaction like your goals are bullseye, your actions the dart, believe in you no matter the ending or the start, for your life must you claiming. May all be well with everyone. Today we start and ascend this episode. What is a man? What is a man in 2025? In this episode, we have many diverse conversations regarding how does a man in this day and age set about his morals and principles on the social construct of what the male gender is. The society rules change in regards to the LGBTQ and extra community. You know, the relationship roles and behavior of a man, meaning how he's able to lead himself and his surrounding, how he's galvanizing himself in regards to finance, taking ownership and accountability through his lifetime. The lack of respect for manhood and womanhood in this day and age. How does a man propel and keeping that still to be something powerful and defiant to their careabouts in that sense, right? Moving with a purpose, being transparent with your views and beliefs rather than hindering it or pampering it to the society idea of what is or what not to be. And overall, how do we find balance? How do we find respect for our society, and how do we implement that to be understanding that differences is what makes this society such a great society, right? So in all, I thank you for your time. I truly appreciate you giving me your ears, as with your ears I can, like a cup, pour into you more. I can, like a what's the name? Like a sponge, right? I could soak more into you in regards to lending me your ears allows you still to have your eyes to be able to put these words into vision, right? And you still have your mind to act upon or allow your spirit to give you your inner perception of what's being heard out, right? So, in all, I wanted to have this episode being that for me, in so many ways and facets, I think that we're living in a society that's trying to make it okay for everything to be okay, right? To almost not have a dislike for anything. But in reality is that, like, true love comes from the idealization of having dislike for something else, right? Being able to separate what's meaningful to you is what we call love, right? So I'm not sure if we're programmed to be in this place where we're losing morals and principle, that is happening because this is helping us from the perspective of being more open, being less judgmental. But to me, without morals and principles, although with morals and principles, they assess to have like, oh, this is not for me, that's not for me. I don't look at it as such a thing to be judgmental. It's one of those things to know what's good or what's not for you. And socially, just being transparent amongst that, for a man who's a man that believes in procreation, for a man who believes in the idealization of his sexual gender is him matching with the compatibility of a woman, right? For a man to feel that way and having to, at a lesser degree, hinder that, having to not being able to express that as he much wants or was freely was able to do prior, because we're in a society that's trying to make it in the sense of like, hey, don't raise us all to believe in one way, which is in the procreation aspect. Don't raise us all to look into the marriage as a powerful potency for everyone, right? We're in a society that's like, nah, if you want to date the same sex, go for it. If you want to marry the same sex, go for it, right? If you want to change the sex that you were born with, go for it. Everything is a go, 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 right? So how do you actually stay in a place that is grounded by some sort of structure and stability? So the construction of what the male gender and the female gender has changed in totality in our society, right? Where we're going to a place where everything is to be acceptable, right? It's to be okay with, well, yeah, you don't have to be with that, but just be okay with that. And the problem is we don't realize, and we also don't take the initiative to understand that no matter how free my action or my decision can be, I still intake and I still in part like affect the future, right? So as much sometimes people look into the situation like, yeah, this is what I want to do, this is for me and whatnot, it still eradicates where people are lost and not understand that you still have to move forward in the motion of understanding whatever you're doing affects tomorrow. Understanding your actions today propels views for what's good or not good for tomorrow, right? Because tomorrow is really the baby that's in today, right? Learning from what we're doing for what should be or not be for tomorrow. So without morals and principles, yeah, you can be in your 20s or so on and so forth. Shit, to that point, we see that some parents are allowing their kids to change their sex, right, or to feel as they feel, or to alter what they feel, and we're not comprehending the construction of changes that evolves in a young child mind. So when you as an adult or a young adult make these adult decisions amongst your sexualities, among what you're putting out there, because you feel freely, because there's no what's the word? There's no fallback from you, right? Because it's like, well, I know I'm trolling, I know I'm doing this for attention, so on and so forth. But the young soul, the young mind doesn't know that. So the young mind is taking our actions into be reasonable views, right? So if a young mind don't comprehend why a male is dressed up as a woman and a woman is dressed up as a male, they might grow to be acceptable to that, when we as a society is just saying it's okay to be. If we're as a society telling people it's okay to be bisexual, and I'm not the person to say it's okay or not okay, but also to tell someone it's okay to be bisexual is to tell someone to be okay with being confused, right? Because they both kind of align with the idealization of you not knowing what you want, right? You not being aligned with your sexual energy, right? From the sense of like, what's right for you, what's wrong for you, right? We're in a society that's like plaguing the idealization of experiences of how many is okay, experience of whoever is okay. And that to me goes to the second stand of the society rules change that's been assessed with along the idealization that comes with. So as the motioning of the statement of what is America 2025 and beyond, the social construction of the rules changing amongst what is our sexuality, not just for the man and woman, but of course, like the transgenders, right, to whatever you want to proclaim to be. I found that very like disrespectful, like a slap in the taste almost. I say slap in the taste, slap in the face almost as a man, just because I think we don't. You know, it's crazy. I think we're in a society that's like hurtful to itself in the sense that like nobody really truly wants balance. Everybody wants power for whatever their choices, their decision, their beliefs are, right? You know, the Christians want to run the world. The Jews want to run the world. If you African American, you feel like Caucasian people owe you. Like everybody is so stigmatized to their views of power, their beliefs of what is or what not to be. So in that sense, I think it goes to the same view of what we have when it comes to the construction socially that the LGBTQ community want to do with the rest of the world. And to me, it's so demoralizing because that person don't understand that it was birthed off the natural procreation. I can't speak on a lab-made situation or lab current situation that's going to be happening because obviously now we know that babies are starting to be being born from labs and however they construct such, I don't know. But my thing is, if you are a LGBT person in this day and age, I think it's a very disrespectful state of mind to be in, to where you want everybody in the rest of the world to be as that, right? Because even your birth came from a mom and a father, right? So it's one thing to make your ways and views into your actions, right? So your do's in life, but it's another thing to tell the world that you're wrong because you're not living like me, and you're only accepted if you live like me. And it's super sad. The reason why it's super sad because it come from a place of malicious intention, and that's why it's so sad. And it come from a malicious place of intention because this was an exile group, right? Being whatever you want to call gay or unordinary from the procreation of man and woman was something that for gay men or whatever, I don't know for gay woman if it was to that extremity, but obviously gay men were stoned. They were cast out, They were exited out the community in so many ways and form. And I think to me, realizing now, I think the LGBTQ community took that to the extremity of saying, since I was exercised, cast out, then I'm going to do that to the rest of the world now. But in reality, my thing is like, you were a baby before, you know what I'm saying? Before you got into your sexuality, and again, what made you come to that mindset? Was it trauma? Was it your true divine spirit that was into the LGBTQ community vibe? I don't know. But realistically, the issue comes to that, like, we now want everybody to be the way that we are. Beauty of our world is differences. And I don't plague to say because I'm a straight man that like every gay man or women that's not into men, stuff like that I don't proclaim that to be right. I just know what feels right to my spirit. So I always have enough respect to myself to say, okay, I understand that the world is different. I understand there's macho mans, right, that act super, they may be into men. And I think that's kind of like where I'm at with it in general. There's no disrespect to any LGBTQ community, stuff like that. Or is there's no disrespect about being gay or being whatever you're into. I think it's the balance of like, one, for me, to have a respect for you to be like, okay, dude, that's what you into. That's not what I'm into. Whatever you do privately, I have no care or judgment about it, right? I think it would be disrespectful for me to just be mad or angry because you are, right? Because your choice is different than mine. That's what my angle is. It's like, let's not go to a place of hating our decision, our liking, because it's not the same as what we want it to be. And the more that you're seeing our world gets divided, it's being divided by the roles in the relationship that we learn by the behavior that confine a man and woman through such relationship, whether it's a relationship of a friendship, whether it's the relationship of love, right? Sexual connection, so on and so forth. The correlation of those relationships to me have lost a true connection, because through that, the most conversation a true straight heterosexual male conversation can have with a straight heterosexual female is like love. We talk about family, like, building. It's a lot of futuristic stuff. It's a lot of fantasy stuff among your sexual pleasures. But realistically, the depth of our conversation doesn't go any further. And I think with the loss of diversity amongst the conversation that men and women can have, it's the same factor of like being straight up, like whether a person is LGBTQ, right? Because it's now grounded to be that, right? So if you was in the closet, if you are a gay person, because you are so out there now, it's hard for a straight man like me to even have a mutual respect factor to where we can have a communication level, because I think what a lot of gay men don't see that they're doing to a straight man is that, like, you're trying to disrespect my aura naturally when we meet, meaning that, like, dude, I could know you're gay. You don't have to be overly gay. You don't have to overly express to me that you're a gay man. You know what I'm saying? And I think a lot of time the need or desire or the requirement to feel accepted for the LGBTQ community don't realize how much they're discerning everyone else in this society. Making everybody else like a little smaller just to brighten theirs. It don't have to be that way, and it shouldn't be that way. But in reality, it is this way. In ways like that, in ways like this, we can actually alternate, right? We can alternate because we understand when we're doing too much and when we could do a little less. Those are choices of being accountable. So going to what I'm saying for a real man, how do you go about your relationship and behavior in a society that's like plaguing you amongst, this is the way you do something, that's the way you do something, you want to have a happy wife or a happy life, right? There's so many sayings. For a man, we understand that unconditional love is for kids and for women. We receive love when we provide, when we protect, when we offer structure and stability. So I love my manhood, and I know it's a tough place for a lot of men to be in this day and age, because you can never be worthy enough, in a sense, right? You're constantly being judged from what your greatest days was yesterday to what you're going to do greater tomorrow. It's not easy, but I would tell any man that's a real man is that, like, there's leaders, there's followers. You have a dick, so you can't be a swallower, you know what I'm saying? So if a man understands that he's the leader to his life and he's the conqueror to the actions about his ability, then a man is not discerning with his surrounding. But in that same standpoint, our civilization by societies raise great men, or, you know what I'm saying, break great men. And a lot of us are being broken because our testosterone are being told to to be suppressed. We're being told to not be idealistic, not be as logical as we're birthed to be, right? To stay in an emotional state when it comes to appeasing our surrounding. You know what I'm saying? So if the truth hurt, how does the universe heals if we keep lying? How? How do we go about that as men? If we got to keep tucking our ball sack, tucking our penis, how does the universe actually get to be strong in the sense of like being able to have vitality, not just into the strength of reproduction, but vitality and thought and balance, right? The masculinity and the femininity. We can't have a full feminism society that's constructed on the emotional realm, yet we're being erratically illogical to the causes and effect that we're producing. It gotta be balanced. It gotta be balanced. So for men, no matter what your society says, leadership, being accountable, taking ownership, and leading yourself in a financial way that, like, we always going to need people. And that's one thing about finance. Our society as well, not only with the LGBTQ misled idealization of relationship, but just on a financial perspective too. Because, man, we only look at success from a 1% view that they've been galvanized us to look at, right? So to be successful, making $60,000, $70,000, being able to pay your bills, and having something left over just to do when you can or when it's possible, is that successful? If you're looking at it from the view of somebody making $500,000 and being able to do 2 or 3 vacations, is that life successful compared to that person that's making $1 million with multiple cars or boats, so on? So the level 2 of success has become so externally explained that it's hard for the internal purpose to be a righteous one for most men, right? Because we're defined by the exterior things that we have or the things we get accomplished. So for our hearts, it's not really much that we can really proclaim to anyone, because for our hearts, it's something that you either gonna see for the unconditional value that it presents, or you're gonna be looking for the emotional attachment that heart. As women, you know what I'm saying, I'm speaking from the women's perspective, you're looking for the emotional attachment of that man's heart that's drawn to you, right? But realistically, we don't have unconditional love to be received in the society as men. We have love based on the condition of what we can do and what we can offer. So for any man, may that be your comfort. May that be your comfort to understand that. And the more you're comfortable to understand that unconditional love doesn't exist for you, it comes into the conditions of what we can do and offer the world, then you understand the power of what it is to be a man. You'll understand that and not get lost in the ideas of what success is for anyone else but for you, right? The ability that you can lead yourself, that you can have the accountability amongst what you've done or what you said, the ownership to your days based on your action and thoughts, right? That's the true value of core of you taking responsibility. With responsibility, it makes it tough for a man and woman. I'm not going to make it just one way, because like I said, our society is doing doing the best to make us forget or remove us from the true divine understanding of what unity means, which is power. You know what I'm saying? So the lack of respect for the man and womanhood is derailing the future. Because like I was saying earlier, if we have means upon people now that look into the idealization that procreation is not a beautiful thing no more, then the day that they're gone based upon what they experience, it's just going to be that. It's just going to be that. Like, they don't get the idealization that we're all here in today, being the year 2025, representing literally the same blood lineage of the first year of creation in this society, in this earth realm. It's still one big family, you know what I'm saying? So, like, whoever they're doing this service for in regards to changing their bodies, changing their mindset, and to not leave nothing left in this God green earth or this earth realm, it's astonishing. But at the same time, you have to respect that clearly everybody don't see the world to be the same. Clearly everybody don't respect their internal womb or their internal penis to be the same. So then that leads you to confining in your whereabouts and expressing more what you feel the world wants you to talk about, the whereabout, the who, what, where, and how, right? The external actions and the happening that's going on around you, rather than you speaking on the internal cares, right? The intuition, the intuitive flows of your thought process, the mindfulness of your spirit engaging you in things that you didn't know but only can sense, right? Those engagement are more or less to be affected because they're being depleted within our psychic to not be a careful thought. You know what I'm saying? And that actually our careful thoughts are to be replaced with the social thoughts, right? The current events and so on and so forth that begins to then take on our moments, and those moments take on our time, which then the time takes on the scheduling to what we're creating. You know what I'm saying? So the cycle remains it's all. The cycle remains itself in all, which is self-destruction is always going to be the karmic energy of replenishing what is called insanity. You know what I'm saying? Doing the same thing over and over again. So I would decode that to changes happen, changes come, but we also still got to move with purposes. You still got to move with a reasoning that's defined to your spirit. And the most you can do with that is actually in the practice of meditation, actually in the practice of mindfulness, actually in the practice of how do you practice accountability? For me, it's not being a bullshitter. Not being a bullshitter is somebody that you can be honest with. And if you can be honest with yourself, you can be a super accountable person that takes ownership, own your ship any moment of the day. Because if you don't bullshit yourself, it makes it that much harder for you to bullshit anyone. And also, when we bullshit ourselves, what you realize is that you will always accept your bullshit. Your bullshit will always sound good. You know what I'm saying? It always makes sense. Like, you know what I'm saying? Excuses, bullshit, procrastination, they're all in the same realm. You know what I'm saying? Laziness, they're all in the same realm. It's the realm of I can do later, right? It's like the time perspective. Now, later, tomorrow. You know what I'm saying? For most people, later makes sense because now I could just be lazy. Now I can just not do anything. But if you do now, then later you have more freedom. But then later, without even being able to be in control of later, if I say let me do something later, when later come, I can't control only that to be the only thing I'm going to do later. There's multiple things that can come in later. So when you have the moment and now, it's best to take that moment and run with it. Because the next moment is what? It's not promised. You know, so it's not an easy thing in that regard, being transparent of your views and your beliefs, because I get it. We're in a place in a society realm that, like, differences make people cringe, and a lot of people don't think for themselves. So a lot of decisions are being made in the sheep mentality perspective. Like, you know, the mass majority being the decision maker. So where the mass make a decision and the sheep don't think for themselves, is naturally the sheep gonna say, okay, this is what should be. And like I said, that's the hardest thing, because to be an independent mind where you have everybody else that's not caring or being to your mindset or your views, it's not easy at all. But you still gotta be transparent amongst what your beliefs, your views, your care is, because if you're not, then anything in life can foster you. Anything can alter your care-abouts. Anything can alter what you should be doing because your days is not directive enough. Your views are not being explained enough. You know what I'm saying? Your beliefs, your morals and principles. You don't want to hurt anyone or express them. So how could you actually live out to be those since you hiding them? So in all, what is a man, woman in 2025? It's about learning yourself, and it's about not running from yourself, the good or the bad. It's about not being in the business of pleasing people. And I think a lot of us stay in that business for a long, long time. You know, it's the business of thinking people like me, then I got a happy life. No. Well, do you love yourself first? Then you have a happy life, right? Because you can love yourself and have nobody else to love you and have the best life. You cannot love yourself and have 100 people to love you and have the worst life. Because it's not up to those 100 people to love you. It's up to you. So self-love and who you are have to be something that you unconditionally confine in. And also being able to forgive yourself in those imperfection moments. It's something you have to be able to confine in. So in totality, a man or woman in 2025 is all about balancing themselves, living a respectable life based upon the people, placing the thing that they share this life with. Because like I said, we all have our own universe within us, but within Earth, we do share life. We do share this realm. So be mindful, choose wisely among not just the people, but the places and things that you place in surrounding your life. You know, so I'm grateful as thankful, like I said, for any time I'm able to get the opportunity to be landed, to opportunity where you lend me your ears. I do my best in a sense to sit with my spirit and let my spirit speak. Again, I try my best to stay on the topic of conversation. There's sometimes I know maybe I could derail off, and sometimes it's spiritually driven, and sometimes it's more mindfully based on experiences that come back to me to re-express in the moment. But assure again, consistency is the key. So I thank you for loving me as I always will be loving me, and vice versa. I love you so you can love you. You know what I'm saying? Mind, body, and soul for all to become true. That's where it starts. Believe in you no matter the ending or the start. Again, this is the MB9T podcast show. I'm your humble host, JaMes Peter Bastien. Check me out on Instagram, Facebook, all that beautiful stuff. As you can, I guess, type in MB9T podcast show, of course, on YouTube. Anyway you listen to your podcast, Apple, iTunes, Apple iTunes is the same thing, dumbass. Spotify, yeah. You name them, I'm there. So again, stay great, stay you. Be the best version in the mirror. Stay true.